By the end of this video, I'm going to teach you how to bid on a house with multiple offers and win. And some of these strategies I'm going to share don't even have to do with the main price that you offer on the house. Let's go. Hey everyone, I'm AK with the AK Realty Group, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about something that's somewhat of a hot topic, right? Especially in the hotter real estate markets. And I'm in the DFW area, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where the market is still relatively hot at certain price points where there's still multiple offers going on and there's bidding wars happening, right? So I'm going to talk about how to win multiple offer situations. I've helped quite a few clients win out on a home just because the contract that we wrote was just so much cleaner, had certain strategies that I'm going to discuss with you. So make sure you watch till the end. And, you know, one of the misconceptions is that you have to be the highest bidder. You know, you have to offer the most money. And that's not necessarily true. You know, a few months ago, I had this one deal. I was representing the buyer. It was a condo in the Plano area, and there were multiple offers on it. When I spoke to the other agent, they mentioned that, hey, we've got 30 offers that we've already received over a 3-day period. Yeah, let that sink in. 30 offers, right? And I'm like, you know what? I've got some creative things up my sleeve, so let's see if we can, you know, structure a contract in a way that the seller will probably like, which is also going to benefit my buyer, right? So I used a lot of these strategies that I'm going to be talking about. So it's not always the price that you offer. It's just the way a contract is written. There's so many other things that you can put in there that the seller's going to like because it's going to be on their terms, that, you know, you still have a really good shot at it of winning. And by the way, spoiler alert, we did win out on that property that had 30 offers. And, you know, to say the least, my client was very, very happy. So, you know, it's always fun. So, you know, one of the first things that I'm going to say is when you're drafting a contract up, again, I'm talking from the perspective of being a Texas realtor, right? Like, I don't know how some of these things are in some of the other states. So all of the advice and all of the information that I'm going to be going through is going to be based off of the contracts that we have over here, a purchase agreement that we submit to the seller in the state of Texas. One of the main things that I like to look at, right, when you're going through, first is a price. So you know, run your comps, have your agent run the comps, and see exactly what the fair market value of that home really is. And then also, you know, a lot of times you can contact the other agent. Well, and when I say you, I mean your agent, whoever's representing you, needs to contact the other agent. And a lot of times, depending on the experience level of the agent on the other side, they might give away some information that, you know, that might be beneficial to you, right? It's like they may not know they're giving away information, but, you know, you might be able to grasp some tidbits that help you kind of structure your offer once you talk to them before actually submitting it. So one of the first things that I like to look at, you know, when you're going through is, of course, the purchase price. Once you've figured out what the comps look like and how much you should be offering on the house, then you got to make the deal sweet for the seller to kind of favor you instead of some of the other offers that might be on the table. First things first, right? Earnest money. So, you know, I've got another video, I'll link it up here, about what exactly earnest money is. Usually, you know, a lot of people will put 1% for their earnest money, which is great, it works, right? But when you're in a multiple offer situation, you may want to offer more earnest money, even though your purchase price is the same. So let's look at an example of a $300,000 house. For a $300,000 house, you're going to be putting in, say, 1% as earnest money, which is going to be $3,000. If the way you're financing the house, you're going to be doing 3% down or 3.5% down, say you're putting in like $10,000, right, as a down payment on the house. Instead of offering $3,000 for earnest money, offer $5,000, offer $6,000. It makes your offer look stronger. If during the option period things don't work out and you decide to pull out of that contract, you're going to get your earnest money back. So by offering more during the offer time, it makes your offer look stronger and you look like a more serious buyer. You're not putting in more money because that earnest money that you put in, it counts towards your down payment at the end of the transaction when you're ready to close anyway. So either way, you're bringing that money to the table. It just makes you look stronger up front to be able to win that deal. So the other thing is option money during the option period. That's the money that you have to pay and you're not getting it back, right? Unless if you finalize on the deal, there's a part in the contract where you can say that the option money goes towards the purchase price of the house, right? But if you decide to back out during the option period, that's the money that the seller gets to keep. Usually on a $300,000 house, typically you'll see people putting in $100, $150 for an option period of say 7 days, where they can get the inspection done and do all their due diligence about the condition of the house and stuff like that. In a multiple offer situation, you might want to up that just a little bit, right? Put in $200, $250, because guess what? Putting in that additional $50 or $100 increases your chances significantly, because now the seller knows that, hey, this is money that they're not going to get back if they back out. So, these guys must be serious, or more serious than some of the other buyers that might just be like, you know what, let's put this house under contract. We have the option period to back out if we change our mind, so let's only offer $100. So if you put in $200 for an option fee, guess what? That also increases your chance, because now you're more of a serious buyer, because you're risking a little bit more money to have a shot at buying that house, right? So is that additional $100 worth to you to get the house that you really, really want without inflating the purchase price of the house, right? So option money is the other thing that I feel is very important. Then is the option period, right? So again, sellers usually want to make sure that their house sells as quickly as possible. When you've got a 7-day or a 10-day option period, guess what? They're taking a little bit of money, right? 100, 200 bucks. And now they're actually taking the house off the market for 7 to 10 days, where they're already under contract and they can't really accept any other contract until this one either gets out of option or the buyer backs out, and then they go back on the market and go through that entire process again. So what I recommend during a multiple offer situation is to offer as short of an option period as possible that makes sense for you to be able to do all the inspections and all of that stuff without wasting a lot of the seller's time. That again gives you an edge up. So let's look at the last 2 points, right? If you offer more option money for a shorter option period, doesn't that help, right? So let's look at the 2 scenarios. You've got one person offering $5,000 above asking price with a 10-day option with $100, okay? You come in, say, at list price with more option money in a shorter period of time. So that $5,000 might seem like a lot, right? But at the same time, the seller wants more of a guaranteed sale than be like, you know what? If this goes through, I might end up getting, a little bit more money for my house. Or would I take just a little bit less? It's still above what I'm asking for it, or right there. But, this person is a lot more serious. And because they're more serious, I feel like I'm going to be able to get this house sold a lot quicker, because the first person might be a little flakier, that's going in with a lower amount of option money and a longer time frame, right? Because they might just be like, we can back out. They have a longer time to back out. And by that time, the listing is kind of getting older. So you got to look at it from their perspective too, that when the days on the market for a house end up getting higher and higher and higher, potential buyers later on start thinking, what's wrong with this house? Why is it not sold yet? Especially in a hot market, right? So the seller will usually go with a lower price if it's, even though it's at their asking price, right? They're happy with the price that they're getting. Now it's all about the terms. And that's where a shorter option period will be beneficial to you, because, you know, it's less time for things to go wrong from the seller's perspective. But before you kind of decide to do a shorter option period, make sure you do have an inspector that's going to be available to go in when you need them to, right? You don't want to have a 5-day option where the inspector that you want to use isn't available for 4 days. Then you only have a day to get the inspection done and to negotiate the repairs before you're out of the option period, right? So you got to make sure that you surround yourself with a team that's going to be able to execute that. And that's going to improve your chances of winning that multiple offer. The next thing is the residential service agreement, right? Over here, you know, we usually are able to negotiate that into the price of the contract to where the seller pays for the first year's home warranty, okay? Usually, typically, even for a really good plan, it'll run about $500, $550. If, you know, you add all the other things that we talked about and say, hey, I don't want the seller to pay for the home warranty the first year, I'll pay for it myself. Yeah, it's gonna cost you a few $100s, it's gonna cost you like $500, right? But to the seller, it's one less expense that they have to pay for. It's less money that's coming out of their pocket for the sale of the house, right? So psychologically, that kind of makes sense to them that, hey, I'm gonna end up netting more, which is great, right? So instead of offering, and again, we're gonna tie all of this together towards the end, and it's just a variety of different variables, right, that go into this. So hey, by the way, if you're finding any of this useful, please hit the like button, okay, and subscribe. Okay, so now that we've covered the earnest money, the option fee, and the option period, the next thing that really helps is the title policy, right? The seller's title policy. So on a house that's about $300,000, you're looking at roughly, don't quote me on this stuff, right? Probably around like $2,000, right? For a seller's title policy that they're going to be paying for. So another thing that you could put in to the contract is you as the buyer will pay for that policy. So that's one less expense for the seller, okay? So if you're willing to take that and all these other things, let's look at the two examples side by side now. So you've got multiple offer situations. Say the other person, you know, one of the other parties that's making an offer on the same property you are, is going the very traditional, plain, you know, non-creative way of making an offer, right? It's just something by the books. So it's gonna be, they're gonna put 1% earnest money, so $3,000, right? They're gonna do a $100 option fee for a 7 to 10 day period, whatever they decide, right? A lot of times they'll do 10 days, try to extend it, right? And then they're gonna be asking for $500 for the home warranty, and they're gonna ask for the seller to pay for the title policy, okay? Now let's look at you, now that you know all of this stuff that I've showed you, right? You get very creative with your offer. So you go in, you're not offering $5,000 above the list price like the other person is, right? You're offering just the list price. So now your offer includes a 2% earnest fee, which is $6,000. You already have that money because you're gonna be putting that towards the down payment anyway. So it's not additional money that you're paying, okay? So make sure you keep that in mind, because that's gonna be credited towards your closing costs and your down payment. So you're putting in more for earnest money, it makes you look stronger. You're putting in $200 for an option fee for a 5-day option period, so shorter amount of time, so it gives the seller a little bit more of a, you know, more reassurance that, hey, you're serious and you really want to get this done. So shorter option period. You're not asking for the residential service agreement, so you're not asking for the home warranty for the first year. That saves them some money. And then you're also offering to pay for the title policy. Let's run the math on this, okay? The other party is offering $5,000 above the list price. All right, you think you still got a shot? Let's break it down why you do. With all of these things, well, how much additional are you actually paying? Even though you're paying list price, you've got other expenses that you're offering, right? So you're gonna be doing $100 extra for option fee. You're paying $500 for your own residential service agreement. You're paying for the title policy, which is roughly around $2,000, right? So technically, you are paying $2,600 more than what the list price says, right? They're offering $5,000 more, but you've got now a better shot at getting your offer accepted at $2,400 less than what the other party's paying. So you win, and you're beating out the competition that's competing with you at a higher purchase price. So the other thing that you can look into is also the closing time, right? The sooner you can close on the house, the more beneficial it is to the seller, because it's less things that can go wrong from the buyer side, so the seller can feel more secure about their house being sold in the quickest time possible, because they need to get their money out, right? So if you're able to close even a few days or a week sooner than what your competition is going to be doing, right? If they're offering a 6-week close and you can do a close in 3 weeks because your lender can get everything done, guess what? You have a 3-week advantage. So even though the seller is getting a little bit less money, they're a lot of times they're okay with closing early because they get their money faster, right? So that's another thing that you can look at in terms of negotiations. So one of the other things that you can offer the seller is a lease back, which is, you buy the house, you close on it, but the seller still lives there for another week or so for them to pack up all their stuff and get ready for the move and things like that. So what usually typically happens is, if the seller is in the process of moving somewhere, but their new place isn't ready yet, or something else is going on, right? Or they need additional time to move out, but they will need their money out of the house. You can close early, right? If your lender is able to make that happen, or if you're paying cash, right? If you can close quick, you can offer a lease back to the seller saying, hey, I own the house, but you can still live here for X amount of days to be able to move out, right? You have to attach that to your offer as well, because there's a lease back document that you need to fill out. So with that, the seller feels more at ease that, they don't have to rush through the process. They can still live there for another week while they're packing up, or while their place is getting ready for move-in. So this really helps them as well. So even though they're getting less money, guess what? They're getting their money faster. Plus, they still have a place to stay until they're ready to move in a couple of weeks after that, or whatever that time frame may be. So, when you take all of those different variables, you've got a winning formula, right? So let's recap real quick. Higher earnest money, higher option fee, lower and a shorter option period, offer to pay for the residential service agreement, the home warranty for the first year, right? Try to close as soon as possible, and offer to pay for their title policy. With those things, even though your cost goes up a little bit compared to what the list price is, it's still most likely going to be lower than what some of the other people are offering as their base purchase price and asking the seller to pay all those expenses. Psychologically, from the seller's point of view, they're going to be netting so much more just in the convenience, the seriousness, the time factor, and you paying for some of their expenses. It really builds great rapport where when you go into the option period and when you're negotiating some of the repairs, right, it really helps to have that good relationship with the seller as well, because now they know that you're willing to work with them, so hopefully they're going to be willing to work with you as well. I really hope that this helped and gave you a better idea of how you can go about structuring your offers to be able to win in a multiple offer situation. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email, text me, call me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And also, if you have questions, comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And also down in the description, I've got links for some free guides that I have that you can download, right? Great resource for some information. And I will see you on the next video.